Good afternoon, EntreArchitect community. It is 2 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday, April 13th. I am here for EntreArchitect Live. This is my 5th week in a row of hanging out with you guys here at the EntreArchitect community Facebook group. My favorite place to be on the internet. I hope it's your favorite place to be on the internet. I wanted to start off by reminding you that every day, well, every Monday, I've been here at 2 p.m. Eastern Time in order to have EntreArchitect Live here. My original idea was to create sort of an anchor to your week, sort of start your week off with some motivation and some positivity and a place for you to come and join me. And that's what I've been doing for the past 5 weeks. Hi, Jeff. I'm going to talk about you. That's the next thing I want to say, is that every day here at the EntreArchitect community, my friend and new teammate here at EntreArchitect, Jeff Eccles, will be here every day. I'll be here. Well, I want to talk about that. I'm not sure I'm going to be here. I have an idea. Because I think that there's a little bit of an overlap and some repetitiveness. I don't necessarily think that you need me here every Monday if Jeff is here every day, because I have another idea for me. And so Jeff will continue to be here every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So put that on your calendar and come out, because Jeff is doing a great job. He's talking about all kinds of different topics. The community is engaging with him every day at 4 p.m. So if you have not yet been there, it is a very good call. And Jeff is doing a great job. I'm really proud of him, and I'm proud of what we're doing here on the Facebook group. And outside in the membership, we're also sort of revamping the membership in order to respond to the things that we're all dealing with right now. You know, our whole worlds have sort of turned upside down in the last few weeks. And we're going to do something about that. We're going to take some of the existing content that is in the membership and sort of bring it up to the surface to consolidate and collate and do all the different eights in order to get the information that you need right now in the membership, which is why it's free right now. It's free for 30 days. You can go join it right now, entrearchitect.com/join, and you can and go in there and get what you need and grab what you need. And hopefully you'll stay. If you don't stay, I'm okay with that too. Just get what you need and build a better business right through this thing. But here's my idea. You know, I've been here every day for every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time for a half hour, hanging out with you. And we've gotten some responses. And one of my ideas here is, because we also are trying to grab some traction over on YouTube. And I've been taking the videos from this call from every Monday, and I've been posting them over on YouTube. You can go subscribe right now. I ask you to do that. Please do subscribe, because that will help us not only get that channel rolling, but it will allow us to do some custom URLs and that kind of thing if you go over there and subscribe. EntreArchitect.com/YouTube will get you there. It's a short link, EntreArchitect.com/YouTube. And that's one of the things that we're trying to do over there is, if we have enough subscribers and we've been on the channel for long enough, we can go to create a custom URL, youtube.com/EntreArchitect. We can't do that yet because just this past, I thought we were going to be able to do it. You saw me ask for that on the group. You saw me ask for that on my personal page for you to subscribe to the channel. And I've gotten an overwhelmingly great response. We went from about 30 to 40 subscribers that have been over there for the last few years, 30 or 40 subscribers. We've only had a couple of videos up there. We haven't really focused on YouTube at all. But I now have 239 subscribers. So in 1 week, we got about 200 subscribers. Thank you. If you subscribed, if you haven't subscribed, go subscribe. It doesn't hurt. It's free. And all of the videos that we did here at EntreArchitect Live on the Facebook channel, Facebook group, I've also reposted over on YouTube, so that's there sort of as an archive of all those videos. And here's my idea. I have not discussed this with Jeff yet, and Jeff and I need to discuss this, but I woke up this morning and I thought, Jeff is doing a great job here at the community, doing some great topics and having some really great interaction with the community. And one of the things that I thought would be a great thing would be for me to focus more on YouTube and still do a weekly video. But maybe make it pre-recorded rather than live, and put a little bit more effort and time into the content in order for it to be a little bit more useful and a little bit more valuable. That's my thought. It still would be a short little thing, short little video, but maybe on a specific topic or a specific tool or a specific resource. And just once a week, there's a video over on YouTube. And then we'll share it over here too. If you're not into YouTube, I'll share it over here as well. But that's my thought, and I haven't discussed it with Jeff, so we'll see how that works. Hey, Jefferson. But I thought that my Monday call here at 2 p.m. Eastern time just seems redundant to me. I mean, I'm here, and Jeff's going to be here later today. Jeff posted in the comments right now. Phases of transitioning through crisis is the beginning of the seed of the topic today for context and clarity. Context and clarity is the new name for that every day, that daily video here at EntreArchitect community. Jeff Eccles is going to host that. Has had all through last week. He did a great job. And that was sort of my inspiration. And he's doing such a great job. Why repeat that, right? Why do that twice on Mondays? Because Jeff's going to be here on Monday and Tuesday every weekday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Jeff will be here. And so that's my thought. And let me know. Post right now in the comments for this video. And let me know if that's a good idea, or if you want me to come back every Monday. That's okay too. My feelings are not going to be hurt either way. I have a lot to do. We're building EntreArchitect, and every day I sit down in this chair around 7 a.m. in the morning, and I grab a couple bites for lunch, and then I'm here until the sun goes down, just building this thing and trying to make it the best I can make it. And so, if you think that I should focus my energies here on this call on Mondays, or should I focus more on YouTube and build YouTube a little bit better, a little bit more valuable? Because right now there's the 4 videos of the recording from this call that are over there, and not super high quality. I can tell you that. I'm doing my best, but for some reason the videos have gotten small. I don't know if you've seen them. And there's one video over there that I clipped from one of the podcasts, because when I record the podcast, I typically record the video too, but we don't share the video anywhere. We don't typically do that, and the guests know that. The guests, we record the video because we record the audio and the video, and I have video because when I have a conversation with somebody, I like to be able to look at them and see their expressions and sort of responds to their body language and that kind of thing. I think it has a better conversation, which is why we use the video, and it records automatically. And so I have 300 plus videos on top of the audio from the podcast. And so I had one test about a year ago. Ian Motley of Blue Turtle, we had a great conversation about fees and fee proposals. And I did a short little clip. It was, I think, less than 5 minutes of that video conversation it was the recording of the podcast, but I just clipped a little 5-minute segment out of it, posted it up on the EntreArchitect YouTube channel. And now it has 376 views. I just put it over there and just left it there. And that was the only video on the channel for a year, until I started posting these EntreArchitect live calls over there as an archive of what I've been doing over here on Facebook. So maybe I'll do some of that as well. Maybe we'll clip some of the videos that we've had over the years, because that would be really interesting to go back into the archive of the podcast and share some of the content, just little clips, pull out the things that are most valuable from the podcast recordings in video. Just check with the guests, make sure they're okay with being seen on video, because when we recorded those videos, we told them that we would not share them. And some of them I wouldn't share. Some of them I would share. I'm not going to say who, because very often, people show up, not ready to be on video. Their voices work, but they don't need to be on video. And so we have recordings of that too. So we have some ransom information. We have some ransom content. We won't ever use ransom content, don't worry. But yeah, so maybe we'll do that too. And let me know. Let me also know in the comments what you think that I should do over there on YouTube. What my thought is to pick a topic or pick a resource, pick a tool, and just become a resource, another place where you can find valuable content about business, life, and leadership as a small firm architect. It's something that I wanted to do for a long time. And now that Jeff is on the team and doing a lot of work behind the scenes and here in the community, it will free me up to be able to, maybe do something over there. I can't spend a lot of time on YouTube. I can't spend a lot of time creating these videos. So they're not going to be big, long tutorials. They're going to be like little 5-minute snippets. Because we're doing podcasts and we're doing membership stuff. And we're, like I said, we're trying to build some really quality content for the membership as well, pulling out the content that's already there and sort of curate it for what you need now in this time of crisis. And as this time of crisis, as the dust settles and we all start looking for what do we do now, right? Now that the economy has slowed and our clients are scared, what do we do now, right? So that's going to also be something that Jeff and I focus on inside the membership, of creating a sort of a recovery package, and it'll be part of the membership. It's not going to be anything additional. If you're a member, you'll get it. And so we're working on that, and that'll come out soon. A lot of it will be existing content repackaged to show, to sort of highlight it and say, this is something you need to rewatch or watch again, or I guess rewatch and watch again is the same. You need to either watch it the first time or you need to rewatch it. And here's why, that kind of thing. And this piece of content and this piece of content and this piece of content all work together in order to, do one specific thing that you need to do now. And so that's our idea, is to respond to the time that we're living in, respond to the community. There's hundreds of members in the community in the membership. There are thousands of architects in the community here on EntreArchitect. There are thousands of members over on LinkedIn, although not quite as organized on LinkedIn. I apologize. The LinkedIn group got out of hand years ago. We will clean that up someday. But I think that is what I'm going to do. Focus on the YouTube channel. The other thing I wanted to mention, this weekend in the group, I removed 2 posts, and this is not a rant. This is not I just want to remind everybody of how important this community is. And as the crisis continues, and as we stay home, and as we work from home, and we're trying to figure out all these new ways of working with one another and with our clients and with our teams, the emotions are going to come right to the surface, because we are going to be very stressed, and we're already probably very stressed and concerned and frustrated. And so I ask you to be patient with one another. I ask you to, even if you don't agree with what others say, please be patient, be kind to one another. And when you post something in this group, please do not post something that you know is going to be a provocative post, something that's just there to irritate some people in the group. And I'm not pointing fingers, and I'm not saying that either of the posts that I removed did that. Both posts that I removed because the conversation, the discussion within those posts was certainly not within the spirit of our community here. The original posts did not break any rules. They were right on the edge, though. They were right on the edge. There are dozens, hundreds, thousands of other places to post provocative posts, to post political posts, to post the two sides to every story. If you want to go argue somewhere else. Please don't argue in our group. Our group, and it's in the rules, is to take care of one another, to share with one another, to support one another, to encourage one another. And you can also have those debates about architecture and about business and about life as an architect. And you can disagree and you can have those debates. I welcome that, as long as it stays respectful. You know, at the end of the day, I'm in charge. At the end of the day, if I don't think that you are playing by the rules, I'll first remove your post. Then I will remind you of why I removed the post. Then I will remind you why this place is so special. And I'm not going to let this group collapse. And I posted a post also in the community here. It's right up on the announcements. I welcome you. I encourage you to read it. It's basically what I just said. But please, this group is the culture in which we've built here. The culture that we built within this group is so strong and so positive and so encouraging. It is going to be, as this economy slows and as we all start looking for support and encouragement and answers on a daily basis, this group can be that for you. And if it gets contaminated with negativity or political discussions that break out into arguments, it's going to be like everything else. It'll be like the rest of Facebook, right? And there's so many people who don't even want to be on Facebook, but they're here because of this group, right? And there's many of you in here. I know that. I know that many of you are members of Facebook only to be part of this group. And I will not let this group collapse. And so please think about what you're posting. If it's something that you know is going to light up an argument, please post it somewhere else. Please post it somewhere else. We're here to support one another. And I think I made my point clear. All right. Yes, Kurt. Yes, the Jeff is going to be here at 4 p.m. every day. And this is going to be in the Facebook group, not the Facebook page. The Facebook group, two different things. Facebook page has a bunch of posts that go out every day. Great content. You should subscribe to the page. But the group is where the community are. The group is where we all are hanging out and supporting one another. If you listen to the podcast, the last three things I say on every podcast, and you've heard me say it probably hundreds of times at this point, and it's straight up on the rules. If you go check out the rules in this Facebook group, love, learn, share. That's it. So when you post something, just think, is this going to support and care for one another? Because that's what the love part means. It means that we're here to support one another. We're here to care for one another. We're here to help one another get through a really tough time. Okay? Love. Learn. You're here to learn. You're here to absorb what you can from others, to share what you have. And the last thing is to share and share everything you can that will help others succeed and thrive. So love, learn, share. If it doesn't meet those three things, then don't post it here. Post it. And I encourage you to post it, but don't post it here. That's okay. Just post it somewhere else. Okay. And if you want me to see it, then send me a link on my Facebook group page, or send me a text, or send me a direct message and say, hey, you might think this is interesting. And I'll go look at it. Okay. And maybe I'll even share it. But this place is not for politics, and it's not about. And I know there's There's strong feelings about what's happening right now, right? And what others choose to do during this moment in time. There's definitely some rights and wrongs here, but this is not the place to have that debate. And that's what's important. Okay, so I've gone on and on and on about that, so I apologize. So let's see, what else is happening? To this week, on the podcast, you should go listen. If you haven't listened to the podcast this week, I highly recommend that you do. We have Shannon Lee from Win Without Pitching, who is the director of coaching for Win Without Pitching. Win Without Pitching is Win Without Pitching Manifesto is a book that you should read if you haven't read it. It's written by Blair Enns. His name comes up in this group very often. Win Without Pitching, or this other book, which happens to be right here. Whoop. Let's see if it can focus. It's not going to focus. There we go. Pricing Creativity is his other book. Also a very good book. So Shannon Lee, director of coaching with Win Without Pitching, was on the podcast, and a very, very important conversation. It was a podcast interview that I moved up to the top. I had the interview 2 weeks ago. I pushed it right up to the top so it would publish this week because it is important and timely for right now. It's about how do we sell during a time of crisis? How do we position ourselves in a time of crisis? Much of what Jeff has been talking about this past week, she also talked about. And so I highly recommend that you listen to episode 318 of the EntreArchitect podcast with Shannon Lee. It's called Decide to Win, which is step one. Decide to Win with Shannon Lee of Win Without Pitching. Also on the blog, we've been starting to post a little bit more on the blog again. The blog sort of took a hiatus for a little while, but now we're trying to get as much information out as we can. So we've been posting about the CARES Act and about the different resources that you have, but we also have 3 articles that Shannon sent me from Win Without Pitching that are written by Blair. And so this week on the blog, EntreArchitect.com/blog is a direct link, or you could just go to the podcast or to the website EntreArchitect.com, and it's up in the menu. And we have 3 steps to surviving and thriving in a crisis, which is one of the articles that Shannon was referencing in the podcast. And there's 2 other articles that will be published in the next couple of weeks that are very important and timely for right now, because it's about leadership and what we should be doing in terms of business owners and marketers, and how do we ensure that our clients are being cared for and are being heard. And in the podcast, Shannon step by step went down the whole thing. So you should definitely listen to that, and then and definitely check out the article at the blog, 3 Steps to Surviving and Thriving in a Crisis by Blair Enns. Also, if you're still looking for information about the CARES Act applications and those kind of things, we have a COVID-19 link on the menu on the EntreArchitect.com website. Right up on the main menu, we set up a resource page for architects. Just click the COVID-19 link and it will be there, and it has all the information that we can find, and we continue to add to it. We keep bringing as articles as we find articles or we find applications. Most of the banks, we try to create a resource, an entire list of all the SBA banks and the direct link to the application for the payroll protection program application. So if you go to the EntreArchitect.com/COVID-19, which is the URL for the resource guide, that, I think it's at the bottom of one of the sections. There's a link to all the SBA banks, and so you could find your bank there and fill out the application if you're going to. I did fill out the application. Right now it's still pending. I put together that preliminary application. I don't know what others have done. Has anybody gotten the response from their banks in terms of after that preliminary application? Have you done the final submission? Have you not only done the final submission, but have you gotten any response? Have you gotten any funding? That would be an interesting, I'd love to know that. Just checking the comments in the group. So yeah, so that's where things are here. The podcast. Also, if you haven't listened to the Build Your Brand podcast, Jeff Echols podcast, what are you waiting for? That podcast, I will tell you that Jeff's podcast is phenomenal. I didn't create it, so I could say that. Jeff created it with Demetrius Lynch, who is our creative director for Gable Media, which is our podcast network. And we have some really exciting news coming up with Gable Media with new shows. We're talking to several people, and we are currently in development with several new shows, and with names of people you know, I guarantee you. And so we're super excited here at EntreArchitect and Gable Media on what's happening at Gable Media. But listen to the podcast, Build Your Brand podcast. You can go to entrearchitect.com/podcasts with an S, podcasts, and you'll go directly to our page on our website for EntreArchitect podcast and Build Your Brand podcast, and with all the links of where you can subscribe. And we're continuing to add. We have Spotify and iTunes. That page is still in development, so we're going to add Stitcher and Google Play. So wherever you listen to podcasts, there'll be a button there where you can subscribe. But just go on your own podcast player and type in Build Your Brand podcast with Jeff Echols and subscribe. And here's how it works. You have to start from, well, you don't have to. You can listen to any episode you want. Well, it comes out every 2 weeks. We're on episode 3. But the idea of the podcast, one of the reasons why it's called Build Your Brand, although it also references the workshop that we did, Jeff and I did last year, and we'll be doing again in the next few weeks. So watch for information on that. But it's also, I look at it as you're building your brand, and it's one episode builds upon the next episode. So you learn something about branding in the first episode, that the second episode builds on that, the third episode builds on that, the fourth episode builds on that. And so you get this whole, it's basically the curriculum for Build Your Brand workshop in a podcast format built around the story of Southwest Airlines, which is awesome. I love the concept. Jeff tells the story through 12 episodes of how Southwest Airlines has built their brand, and then he teaches what Southwest has done each week for a specific topic of what they did and how they did it, and then applies it to small firm architects and says, here's how Southwest has done it, here's what you should learn from Southwest, and here's what you can do at your firm. And to make it even better, he interviews Miss Moyer's class, 8th graders, hangs out with 8th graders, and they, in this episode, the third episode, they tell you what they think of your website. I love it. I think it's awesome. So if you haven't subscribed, Michelle says it's great. So I agree, Michelle. That's excellent. I think that Jeff and Demetrius and Dawn, who's a correspondent, who happens a little inside baseball here. Dawn's also my assistant. Shh, don't say anything. Secret. Dawn's fantastic. Dawn's the best assistant anyone could possibly have. And we also recruited her to be a podcast star. So she's our correspondent. That's it. Correspondent on the Build Your Brand podcast. So subscribe to that. EntreArchitect.com/podcasts with an S. If you go to podcast, it goes somewhere. Well, you'll get it there too, but it's not the page that we're building. And so definitely check that out. And we have some news at Gable Media coming soon. So pay attention to our social media. When those things are ready to announce, we will announce them. We're up at 2:30. My 30 minutes are up. Thank you for hanging out with me here. I appreciate it. So post in the comments right now as you're listening, and as you're listening later on today in the replay. Let me know what your thoughts are on me moving over to YouTube and letting Jeff take care of the community here. I will always be part of the community. I'm active on it every day, and I'm watching you. And so should I come back here every Monday, or should I take that time that I focus here on the EntreArchitect live call and spend a little bit more time and build something that's a little bit more valuable, a little bit more intentional, a little bit more tactical, maybe strategic over on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, subscribe so you don't miss whatever I'm going to be doing over there, or whatever we are going to be doing over there. EntreArchitect.com/YouTube will take you to the channel, and please subscribe. That helps us gain a little more control over the channel from YouTube, and I would appreciate you to do that. Thank you very much. I thank you for being here, not just for this call, but I thank you for being part of this community and contributing and being here every day and making it the special place that it is. I'm very proud of all of you for what we've built here, because I just started it. I encourage you to continue to take care of one another, and that's my part. But you do that, and you take care of one another, and you share with one another, and you learn from one another, and I thank you for that. That means a lot to me, because that shows that others are learning from you, and that's my fuel. My fuel is that if everybody's growing, even through a time of crisis like this, if we can all come together and support one another and help one another get through this and build stronger businesses, so when we get out to the other side, we are prepared to take on anything that comes to us. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. I want to get you all prepared for when this thing settles down, that we're ahead, that we're not behind. That's where we're going. We're going ahead. So thank you very much. I'll see you soon. Looks like my phone's ringing. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.